May 3rd and 4th. 5 slots were in Melbourne for There's No Place Like Home tour. And I was lucky enough to finally get tickets to one of the shows on the Sunday night. On the Saturday morning they landed in Melbourne, and I didn't go to the airport because I knew there would just be lots of younger fans there, and I knew that they'd get mobbed and that they wouldn't meet anyone anyway, because when they landed in Adelaide and Sydney they didn't meet fans, so I didn't really see the point. So me and my friends Sam and Michelle were like trying to meet them on the weekend, and Sam had work Saturday afternoon. So Michelle and I went to the city, and we heard that the boys were staying at Crown Promenade, which they did last time, so we thought we'd go there. So once they'd landed in Melbourne, we arrived at the hotel, and there were lots of fans out the front, and we were sort of just there for a minute, and then someone was like, oh shit, they're at the venue. So Michelle and I ran from Crown Promenade to the tram station and went to the venue, which was the Palais Theatre in St Kilda, across from Luna Park. So when we got there were heaps of fans there, and the boys had actually posted a video of them being there. And so we were just standing like out the back near stage door for a while, and someone had their car turned on and had like their music playing, so everyone was just like singing and like getting to know each other. And Michael stuck his head in the window and everyone screamed so loud. I was like, what? And yeah, and it was like starting to rain and get really dark. So Michelle and I went to McDonald's across the road with some friends we made, and then Sam met us there, and because it was like the only really restaurant near the theatre, it was really busy. So we left and went to the coffee club next door to use the toilet, and when we walked in, Liz Hemmings, Luke's mum, and was sitting there, and his dad was there as well, and people were like, oh my god, let's go sit with her, and I was like, I don't really know who she is, I don't really care to sit with her, but we sat like near her, and then she got up to leave, and one of the girls that I was with went up to her and was like, Liz, can I please get a photo? She said yes, so I got one as well, and a few others did, and I was just talking to her about like her photography and if she's liking Melbourne, and then she left, and then we sat at the coffee club for a bit because we didn't have tickets for the show. So after a while we went back to the theatre, and we had a sign saying like need tickets, but we didn't get any, so we waited for a bit, and then like we were listening to the show through the stage door, and then we went and got a tram to their hotel so that we were there when they finished. When we got there were heaps of fans there, and security was just kicking everyone out, saying that the boys weren't staying there. We knew that they were just lying. So we were just at Crown Promenade playing on the table tennis table, and then the girls had to go to the toilet, so I just sat with our bags near the table, and a security came up to me and was like, oh, like, what are you doing here? And I was like, oh, I'm just waiting for my friends, we're playing some ping pong. And I started acting dumb, and I was like, why are there so many teenage girls here? And he was like, oh, rumours have started on Twitter that there's a boy band staying here. And I was like, oh my god, a One Direction here. He was like, no, it's not them, it's that 5 Seconds of Summer. I was like, oh, I'd never heard of them. He was like, yeah, apparently they're staying here, but my manager's looked it up, and they're staying at the Olsen, like they're 100% not here. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. And then when the girls came, I told them what he said, and we were like, should we go to the Olsen, should we just go to bed? And it was pretty late, so we just decided to go home. So the next morning we got up and went to shopping on Chapel Street, which was the same street as the Olsen Hotel. And as we were on the tram going down Chapel Street, people started posting all these photos of them with 4 out of 4 out the front of the Olsen. Like the boys came out and met fans. And so we stayed on the tram until we got to the Olsen, and when we got there all the fans were still there, and they said the boys had just left to go to a photo shoot, so we're pretty mad about that. But we just went and got some food and went shopping, got some alcohol and went home and started to get ready for the concert. And then once we were ready we got a taxi to the venue, and then went to the show. then after the show, as soon as they finished the last song, we jumped into a taxi and drove to the Olsen and went into the bar there, so that we were in there by the time the boys got there, because we knew that they always go have a drink after the show. We were in there for a while, and then nothing was really happening. Like, there were heaps and heaps of fans arriving outside, and then we thought we had the wrong hotel again. And then Liz arrived at the hotel, and then 10 minutes later she came and sat in the bar, and Sam, Michelle and I were like, oh my god, the boys are gonna come in, Liz is there. And then she sat next to us, and we were just making friends with a few of the other girls there that we'd met the night before, and making friends with the bartenders. And Liz and her husband, like, didn't mind us being there, like, didn't say anything to us, like, smiled at us, but that's it. And then their security came in and was like, you girls have to go. And we're like, we're having a drink. And they're like, well, finish your drink and go. We're like, yeah, we will. And we started just drink really slowly, because we knew that the boys were coming in and we didn't want to be kicked out, because we wanted to, like, have a drink with them. And then the security came back over 5 minutes and I was like, come on girls, time to go. And we were saying, we haven't finished our drink. He's like, well, you don't have to. We're like, but we paid for it. He's like, well, scull it. So then we finished our drink and he was like, you girls have to go. So we got up and left and went and hid in the bathrooms in the reception of the hotel. And we were in there for a while, and then these girls came in and we're all just in there, just talking. And then a bartender came in and found us and was like, girls, I'm really sorry, like, I know you want to meet the boys, but you have to go. So we all walked outside, and then I walked out with the new girls, and then I turned around and Sam and Michelle were still in there, and I was like, shit, like, they're in there, I'm out here. So I just walked back through reception into the toilet, and then the bartender was like, girls, you three need to leave. So as we walked out, we walked right into Luke, and I was like, oh my god, like, Luke. And then we walked outside because the bartender kept pushing us out. And then I turned around to have another look at Luke, and I saw Ashton as well, and I, like, ran outside, ran around the corner of the hotel and called my friend from Perth and just burst into tears. I was like, I've been kicked out of the bar that Ashton's in. Ashton's sitting in my seat. Like, I got kicked out for him to have my seat. He saw the back of me, like, I didn't see him, and I was so upset. I was crying so hard, and my friend was like, don't worry, like, you're gonna meet him. I was like, I'm not gonna meet him. I had one chance. I'm not gonna meet him. And she was like, just stay there, like, he might come see you when he leaves, like, you have to stay there. So I took her word for it, and we just stood outside the hotel with a few fans, because, like, everything was glass. We could see into where the boys were sitting, and they looked really angry, like, not in the mood to be there. And then they kept, like, looking at us. And then after a while, Luke came down the stairs from upstairs of the bar and walked past all the fans, had his head down and, like, just put his arm up as in to wave, and looked so upset and angry. And then he went upstairs, and then a girl came down crying, and everyone was like, what's wrong? She's like, I was just stuck on Luke's level with him. He's so angry and upset, like, he was swearing at Liz and just wasn't happy at all. And none of us really knew what was wrong, and, like, it wasn't really any of our business, so we didn't care. And then Ashton started to stand up and come down, and so I pushed my way to the front of the glass so that I could see him when he came down. And when he came down, I was, like, waving to him, and I was holding up my present that I had for him, and he pointed at it and then pointed at him, and I was nodding as if to say, yes, it's for you. And, like, he, like, waved and then kept walking through the bar and then towards the lift. So I ran from out the front of the bar to out the front of, like, reception, and was, like, pointing it to him, and I was like, please, Ashton. And he went to walk towards me, and security, like, stopped him and was like, no, Ashton. So he, like, did, like, a sad face and went to the lift. And then, like, security was, like, outside talking to us and was like, they've all gone to bed now, like, they're not coming out, like, go home. get some rest, be warm and dry, because it had been raining the past 2 days. So he took his word for it that they'd gone to bed, and yeah, went to bed, and that was pretty much it. We thought, like, we all had uni and work the next day, and we thought that's it for our experience. Like, we've been to the concert, seen Luke and Ashton in person, that's it. So we went home to bed, and I was just wrecked. Like, I was so upset. I was like, I haven't met Ashton. I've disappointed everyone, because everyone wanted me to meet him so bad, and I was just so upset with myself that I didn't meet him when I had so many chances. But then the next morning when we woke up, Sam said she wasn't going to work and Michelle had to go to work. And I was like, well, I'm not going to go to uni if Sam's not going to work. And we knew that the boys hadn't left yet. So we went to their hotel at like 9:30, because we knew that they could either have a 10 o'clock checkout or 12. And then we got there at 9:30 in case it was 10. And then like 10 past 10, Liz and her husband got into a taxi and left. And there were maybe, at this time, there was maybe like 25, 30 fans, and we're all just sitting across the road from the hotel on a footpath, and it was in like a side street, so no one really mattered. And security like was out the front, and Ashton tweeted a picture of food saying like Drummers Fuel or something, and Sam and I were looking at it saying like, where is he eating, where is he eating? I'm like, that's definitely the table we were sitting at last night at the bar, and we tried to see if we could see him, but we couldn't. And then at like 10:30 he came out of the bar that we knew he was in and walked through reception, and everyone was like, oh, it's Ashton, but no one was like yelling or screaming. Everyone was still sat down, just being really calm, like it was sort of just like talking, saying, oh guys, look, it's Ashton. And then he went upstairs for a bit, and then like their black van came, and everyone stood up in a straight line on the curb of the footpath, and security came over and said, stand up, everyone stand up against the wall. So we all did that, and they said, you're going to get one or none, come out and meet you, what do you want? And I was like, Sam, it's Ashton, Sam, it's Ashton. And like, I was shaking so much because I knew what was about to happen. And everyone was like, one, please, thank you so much, thank you, thank you, thank you. And we're like, we love you so much to him. And he's like, you don't love me. And we're like, no, you're our favourite person right now. And then like, as we guessed, Ashton walked out of the hotel and like waved to everyone, and they waved to him. He went to one end of the line and started making his way up. And I just looked at Sam and burst into tears. I was like, I'm about to meet Ashton. She's like, Sam was like, hold it together, Maddie, hold it together, like you're gonna be okay. And then like he finally got to me, and I was holding up my present for him, which was a table number 5 from Nando's, and next to the 5 I wrote SOS for 5 sauce, and I was holding it up when he came to me, and he was like, hi Nando's girl, and I was like, hi, this is for you. He's like, did you steal this? And I was like, yeah, but I work from the Nando's I work at, so it's all good. He's like, oh, thank you. And I was like, oh, can we please get a photo? And he was like, yeah, sure. So we took some photos, and then I was like, can I please have a kiss on the cheek? And he was like, yeah. Like couldn't find, I was wearing a big hat, and he couldn't find his way under my hat, and was like trying to, and it full looked like he was going towards my lips, and then was like, oh, whoops, and turned around and gave Sam a kiss on the cheek, and it was so cute. And they got some photos, and he made his way down the line, and I just burst into tears and collapsed to the floor, and everyone was like, is she okay? And Sam's like, yeah, she's just the biggest Ashton girl ever. And then like I called my friend that I called on Sunday night, and I couldn't even talk English. I was like, I met Ashton, and she's like, what? And I was like, I met Ashton. And then she was like, oh my god, I'm so happy. And then like, yeah, Ashton made his way to the end of the line. And then when he went in, like when he was crossing the road to go back inside, he was like waving to us, and we were all just waving to him, saying, thank you, Ashton, thank you. And then I was like, oh my god, no one screamed at all. Like everyone stayed so calm. And then he was like waving, and like was about to walk inside, and I called out, "Show us your map of Tassie," and everyone started laughing, and he just looked at me and laughed and waved and went inside. And then their van like drove down a side street, and a mum came over and was like, "Oh, the boys have just left, like we saw them get in the van." And then security came over and was like, "Yep, like I can confirm the boys are on their way to the airport now, like go home again, get warm, stay dry, like they've left." And then we're like, "Thank you so much." And yeah, I did it. I met Ashton.